Welcome to the Customer Wins podcast, where business leaders discuss their secrets and techniques for helping their customers succeed and in turn grow their business.
Hi, I'm Rich Walker, the host of The Customer Wins, where I talk to business leaders about how they help their customers win and how their focus on customer experience leads to growth. Some of my past guests have included Donald Morgan of iWealth Tax, Larry Shumbries of Archive Intel, and Brian Thorpe of Wealth Tender. Today, I get to speak with David Steele, co-founder and CEO of One Wealth Advisors and co-founder and executive chairman at Flower and Water Hospitality Group. And today's episode is brought to you by Quick, the leader in enterprise forms processing. When your business relies upon processing forms, don't waste your team's valuable time manually reviewing the forms. Instead, get Quick. Using our Form Extract API, simply submit your completed forms and get back clean, context-rich data that reduces manual reviews to only 1 out of 1,000 submissions. Visit quickforms.com to get started. Now, I'm really excited to introduce today's guest. David Steele is the co-founder and CEO of One Wealth Advisors, where they help people simplify their lives and achieve financial goals through financial planning. He's also the co-founder and executive chairman of Flower and Water Hospitality Group and the co-founder and managing partner of Great Gold Hospitality Group. David, welcome to the Customer Wins.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've been excited to talk to you about this diverse set of things that you're doing. So for those who haven't heard this podcast before, I talk with business leaders about what they're doing to help their customers win, how they built and deliver a great customer experience, and the challenges to growing their own company. So David, let's understand your business a little bit better. How does your company, or should I say companies, help people?
My role in my companies is I see it as very similar in terms of my daily tasks and what I do as a leader and who reports to me, how, why. But my financial planning company is singularly focused on helping our clients live happy, more peaceful lives. What is devoid in that statement is having them die with the highest net worth possible. And it's funny, when we're in a sales situation presenting to a prospective client, we actually say, if you work with us, it's likely you'll die with less money than if you don't, because we're gonna try to help you harmonize your spending and your financial goals with your actual capabilities, rather than the emotionally charged decision making that usually goes along the way. And so we just want people to use money, use their financial situation to make their lives happier, more peaceful. My restaurant company is when I wrote the business plan for my first restaurant, I love gastronomically important food. I love restaurants that are culturally significant, that are pushing the envelope, but I hate elitism, stuffiness. And so the first restaurant we opened, Flower and Water, was an attempt at creating a healthy tension between expectations somebody would have in a fine dining situation with very, very serious food in an environment that was really comfortable and a bit raucous and casual. And the first restaurant did really, really well. And we've got 7 now. So,
Man, that is awesome. Going back to your financial planning business, advisory business, I love what you just said, because so many people I've met, they have these goals of dying with a lot of money, passing all the money to their heirs, et cetera. And I know many of the heirs look at their parents saying, enjoy your life. Like, you should be flying first class. You shouldn't be trying to do economy just to come see me or something like that. How much of that is a conflict with them internally, or do you only work with clients who say yes to that and that's what they wanted anyway?
well, I mean, there's a certain, we don't have any billionaire clients. And I think to be a billionaire, it's highly probable that either consciously or subconsciously you actually intended to be a billionaire. I'll put billionaire in quotes. That is to say, you're relentless, you take incredible risk, you accept the stress necessary to win in such a big way, and you're willing, hopefully consciously, maybe only subconsciously, to actually lose it all. The average billionaire's had multiple bankruptcies.
Mm.
When you're a first generation wealth creator, it's, you had to take risk, put all your time and effort into one company, and you had some stock in that company and it won in a really big way. Or maybe you're in real estate and you were a developer and you developed a couple of properties that could have gone the other direction, but they won. The question is, what do you do from that moment forward? Do you keep pushing, or do you stop and say, my wealth plateau, as we like to call it, I came from nothing. Now, if I'm conservative with what I've created, I can maybe live the rest of my life for a very long time without worrying. But it's mutually exclusive, because to be really, really wealthy, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You're probably not stopping at the first. You're probably continuing to put all your chips in the middle of the table, which I don't know anybody who's, as I would define it, happy and at peace, who's doing that. And so the types of clients who we're able to onboard, because our sales pitches, we're not pitching to somebody who wants to be a billionaire. We're not going to be appealing to them because we're not going to change our pitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's somebody who either at least intellectually knows they need to take some chips off the table and slow down and calm down. And by the way, also sometimes you have a husband, wife, or a spouse situation where the one person, often the man, if it's a husband and wife, wants to keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And often the woman, I'm stereotyping now, but I'm just telling you that's been my experience, is like, no,
It
you
happens.
should take some chips off the table and be conservative. So this is, as I like to say, psychoanalytically rich territory, and we're really interested in going there with people.
Yeah. It is a hard thing. My wife works part-time. She's passionate about the things that she does. I have this business. She's only known me to have my business and to grow it. And we have those types of debates of when do we feel like enough's enough, or when do we have the stability, et cetera. I think it helps that she came from a position of living with affluence and then losing it. Her parents lost all their money and then had to rebuild it up. So she knows what it's like to struggle and be poor, but also to be, well off. I think I don't want to put you too much on the spot, so I apologize if I'm doing this, David. But from prior conversations, I think you are exemplifying what you're trying to give your clients. You're living a life that gives you balance and harmony and freedom, from what I've understood. Do you feel like that's a fair assessment?
I mean, I do what I say more than I don't, but I can give you an example. I mean, I've been a financial advisory, financial planning for over 30 years. And I've always been critical of people who really go over their skis with spending with their nut. Often it's involved with real estate decisions. They
Hmm.
they think they need the bigger home, the more expensive home, and they do everything they can to make that happen. And they wake up one day and they're just constantly stressed out, even though if you would have asked them 10 years ago if they would have been happy with something half the size, they would have been like, oh my goodness, that would be amazing. And so what ends up happening is you just, you're out of the frying pan and into the fire, even though you didn't have to be. It was a choice you made. Lo and behold, I just put a good portion of my net worth into building a home. And I'm regretting it, because
Interesting.
whereas I'm not worried I can't afford it, because I know I can, I think about money more than if I just didn't build this big, beautiful home, I would be. And so it's created stressors in my life. So, yes, I mostly do what I say people should do, but I'm not perfect. And this recent example with a home is proof of that.
I appreciate that honesty. Ours as kids, they just keep costing more money. No, I appreciate that because we do think about it too. We have a beautiful home, and there are things that we don't like about it. Very few things we don't like about it, and we think, wow, we want more land. We want to have a bigger place. We want blah blah blah. And then I asked that kind of question, like, well, we'd have to have that cash flow to feel really comfortable at that higher level and not stress about the money. So it sounds to me that you started the financial advisory and then later you started the restaurants. So I'm kind of curious. I was really kind of asking this question in terms of, were the restaurants part of this lifestyle balance and harmony that you were seeking?
Well, I think that there's a symbiotic relationship between entrepreneurs who have ideas and operational capabilities and desires to operate, and investors who have a lot of capital and have to put it somewhere. As a financial planner, most people that have significant wealth will carve out a portion of that wealth for local community-based private investments, restaurants, whatever it may be. And so I have always been aware of that symbiotic relationship, and therefore, whenever I've done entrepreneurial pursuits, I've created investor decks and offered ownership in part of the businesses I've started, including every restaurant I've done, and therefore, starting my first restaurant, which has now turned into a restaurant company with many restaurants, it didn't negatively affect my financial position in the way that one would assume. I didn't put up all the capital. I was an investor, actually, because
Yeah.
it was my first restaurant, so I couldn't raise money from all the money from investors. So that didn't really violate my balance, if you will. It wasn't a huge financial impact on my life. And as it relates to my work-life balance, which is baked into that question, I think a bit, my financial planning practice was 15, 16 years old when I opened my first restaurant, and my brother's my founding partner of that practice. And he was in the restaurant business in high school and college, as was I. And I said, man, Jonathan, I got to open this restaurant. I'm going to take some time away from the financial planning practice and do this. And I didn't start working more hours. I just reallocated the hours I was working, and I elevated my role into even more leadership in the financial planning practice because we had scaled and grown to the point where we had a team, and I was able to do that and delegate out a lot of my responsibilities over the years and be more of a leader than a doer, if you will.
Yeah.
And the restaurant business, I'm very much a leader, not a doer. So I don't know if that totally answers your question, but that was intentional.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because, man, I know people who started restaurants and they work 24/7. It's their life. They should sleep in the kitchen practically.
They're doing two jobs.
Yeah.
They're the owner or the CEO of the restaurant, and they're probably the general manager or the chef. They're
Yeah.
choosing to do two jobs. I chose to do one job and hire and bring on partners to do the other jobs. And so people who work in own restaurants are both owners and workers. And there's a distinction, right? Being a CEO of a company is not the person who washes the dishes and or even builds the menu necessarily. But there are owner type stuff that has to get done. And so anybody who's working their tail off owning restaurants probably are doing more than one job.
No, you're right. I mean, founders of most companies are doing more than one job. We used to joke that we're a chief cook and bottle washer here at Quick, even though we're software. We just did whatever we had to do to make it happen. I love my role now. I'm far more 98% CEO than 10% CEO. Here's one of the main questions I really was interested in asking you about to be on my show with. How do you create this amazing culinary experience, guest experience in restaurants?
Well, I mean, I said earlier that, and opened our first restaurant 16 years ago. What I'm saying when I say about the intersection of technical proficiency from a culinary perspective with casual, comfortable environment, that was very unusual in cities at the time. It's become way more common in San Francisco and New York, and Chicago and the main cities. But at the time, that you had either casual or fine dining for the most part. It was pretty rare. Now, again, it's really, really common. So I'd like to think that's something that we've done and we do really, really well. I mean, it's the thing I'm most proud of because I don't like stuffiness. I don't like being sitting in a restaurant, being in an environment where I feel like I can't have a natural, comfortable conversation at a volume level that is normal and natural. That I am afraid to get the tablecloth dirty. So I really built with my partners restaurants that I wanted to eat at. So it's a bit selfish, actually.
Okay, so I'm going to codify this because this is maybe one of the secrets to building a great customer service, customer experience. It sounds like you are the first customer.
Yeah, as you were saying it. It just yes, exactly.
I like this, David. Yeah, if I was for my software, I built it so it would be easy for me. I gave it to my partner, my in financial planning, who had been with IBM forever. Like he was the worldwide global planner. Took me 3 months to get him to use it, but when he saw it, he was like, "How have I not been using it? This is the simplest software product I've ever used." And that was my kind of idea. Like, got to make it really easy so I don't stress about it, worry about it. It's just like click, click, go, done. I love that idea. You have to be the first customer, and you were modeling it over the things that you loved and didn't love in restaurants. All right.
Oh, and financial planning, by the way, because I don't want to be a billionaire. I have no interest in that. So when I say and I do want to live a happier, more peaceful life, and I do believe that if treated the right way, money actually can buy happiness if everything is in harmony in a sort of integrated, systematic way. And so I think my financial planning business had me in what I want, my ideals in mind as well.
Yeah. I jokingly say this to people, but I truly mean it. If money can buy happiness, spend the money. Obviously, within reason. There's a lot of cars that would make me happy that I can't afford yet.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I generally think that the the things that we can quote unquote spend money on that will make us happier usually involve reducing friction from our lives and creating environments, shared experiences with people we love.
Hmm.
And I think the things we spend money on that will not bring us happiness are things that are we're going to be able to only experience ourselves, or maybe there's a marginal utility gained. For example, my house that I built, it's I had a prior to this, I had a smaller home that I could entertain just as well and have people come visit me just as much in, and have loved ones around me just as much as the bigger home. The bigger home is 4 times as expensive, and I have almost no added benefit, and I do have 4 times more complexity and cost. And so it's an example, I think, of how money, when people say money can't buy happiness, I think it's because now you have more money, you go do things that add complexity to your life, but they don't actually add rich experiences to your life over and above things that can cost less.
Yeah, it's amazing how much things can cost. My last house had one air conditioning unit. Now my current house has two. And one of them went out in this house 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it was so expensive to replace. I'm like, oh my gosh, if both of them went out, wow, I wouldn't want to have to face that. And so then you think, bigger house, four air conditioners. No.
Mhm.
David, let's switch gears a little bit. I know in the world of financial advisory, we are all enamored with AI and automation and tool sets that make our jobs easier. But in contrast to the restaurant business, I don't know what AI is doing. But let me put this more on the personal level. I don't think I want to go to a restaurant where some robot tries to serve me. I still like the human touch. I am a glutton for the waiter or the waitress who tells me their name and tells me the specials and all that stuff. So, how do you see the connection between humans playing out with AI in both of your worlds?
I mean, I'll go to my grave believing that humans want to do business with humans. I also believe that the humans that get to do business with the most humans that they want to do business with are the ones that are competitively advantaged. And
Hmm.
the use of technology, I think, is required to keep us competitive with the people that we're up against for winning business. So in the financial planning business, we are all in on figuring out ways to have AI or technology. We used to call it algorithms. Now we call it AI. I mean, we've been using algorithms for literally decades to do projections and planning, and it's just the algorithms have gotten better. To me, I know I'm oversimplifying AI, but
it's called algorithm intelligence, not artificial intelligence in my head.
Yeah, totally. And so we're all in on AI for our financial planning practice, but not in the name of scaling out humans from the equation. So that way our clients can do more and more on their own with good UX and UI. It's so our humans that are part of our team can be more efficient and more competitive versus those we're up against for serving our clients. Restaurants, I see, first of all, it depends upon the type of restaurant you're talking about. If you go to a fast food place, you go to McDonald's now, most of them you're ordering on a touchscreen, and I don't think anybody cares.
No, that's true.
It's McDonald's. And I think there are, my founding partner of the restaurant company, Chef Tom, who's the CEO of the company now, he and I have some healthy debates. We have a fast casual concept we're scaling called Flour and Water Pizzeria. We have two of them. We're opening many, many more over the years. At least that's our plan. And I was insistent that servers in our restaurants do not have handheld digital devices. They can remember somebody's order, they interact, or they can write it down, which is a little less cold than typing into a digital device. Tom agreed on that for our existing restaurants, which are a little bit more gastronomic and a little bit more elevated. They're not fussy and fancy, but they're more elevated. Our scaled Flour and Water Pizzeria, Tom won. They have digital devices. And he's probably not wrong. It's still you're still interacting with a person who is touching a digital device. The order, by the way, then immediately goes into the kitchen and can get made. It's actually more efficient. But again, I still want that human to human contact. So I think it really depends upon where you are in the marketplace as to how important it is to have human contact and to what extent, as it relates to restaurants anyway.
No, I think that's a really good distinction because fast food, you have no problem if it's self-service. One of my favorite fast food places, if you will, here in Texas, and it's unique to the South, is HTO, iced tea on demand. And I've never had better iced tea. You go in, they've got 15 different flavors and spigots. You serve yourself, you go to the counter, you pay with a credit card, you tap with your mobile phone. There's a rewards program, but it's super fast and easy. And I love that. There's a drive-through. They'll serve it to you as well. But you're right. When you go into a restaurant, here's another weird kind of experience to me. Olive Garden. My wife's from South Africa. She loves Olive Garden. So we go there, I don't know, once a year or something. I think you now pay at the table off a little cube electronic device there instead of paying the server, which is a weird feeling. I don't know if I like it or don't like it, frankly. But man, at a high-end restaurant, forgive me. I like to show my metal card here. Here's the card I'm using. So I like that interaction. I think it's fair to think about it in scale. And that probably applies to financial advising too, right? You have a highly personalized service. You're not a robo-advisor trying to do it at scale. What do you think the future of AI does bring to the table? Have you thought about that?
Well, 2 years ago, I think is really when people started thinking about AI. Maybe it was even less, but it's moving so quickly. We, at each of the companies, we put somebody who volunteered through an executive MBA AI program right away. And the reason we did that was because we knew that this was fundamental shift that was happening in how we think about using technology in a business situation, but we didn't know how. And we wanted to demystify it as much as we could to start exercising these muscles. So we were open to change rather than resisting the change or putting our head in the sand around the change. And each of those people went through this executive MBA program, one at the restaurant company, one at my financial planning company. And they have, in our strategic planning, we do every year, every quarter, their role, in addition to their day job, because each of them have their own roles at the company, their job is to help get everybody in the teams to be curious about how they can become better at using technology. And so there's been a lot of little things along the way, but most assuredly, especially with the financial planning company, we're able to be much, much more accurate and more timely with answers to clients because everybody's super comfortable going to AI to begin to go down the rabbit hole of research and analysis. Of course, AI hallucinates still, and so we have to be very careful. And advice we're giving is always coming from us. It is not coming from AI, but it's just an incredible research partner. And I also have a belief that we're customer facing, both in the financial planning business and in the restaurant business. We are directly customer facing. I think AI is our vendor's problem. Then it's our problem. So if you look at our tech stack and our financial planning practice, I think it's best in class. CRM, we use Salesforce. Well, Salesforce, if they're not integrating AI to make our jobs better, to make us more efficient, more productive, we're going to switch to a different CRM.
True.
It's their problem. The customer hopefully is not going to switch from us as advisors to a robo-advisor because of what I said earlier, which is I believe humans want to do business with humans, or at least a lot of humans do. But the vendor, they have a problem. These vendors have a problem. And so, but our desire in both businesses to be not avoiding tech and AI, but embracing it and being curious about it is going to help us, I even think, looking at our vendor situations through a different lens, through a more tech savvy lens.
You reinforced something in my head, which is AI is simply a tool set. It's an amazing tool set, but nonetheless, it's a tool set. And when I started financial planning with my mentor, who had been a planner for 5 years by then, he said to me, Rich, I don't care what the plan says for the customer, their financial plan. It says what it says, but we're going to evaluate it every year because conditions change. I'm not going to trust it out 20 years from now. I said, think about this. If you're driving your car from Los Angeles to Las Vegas across a desert, you just pick one road and that's it, and you're done. What if you get a flat tire? You got to stop for new gas. You got to stop for brakes. What if there's a detour? There's all sorts of things that cause you to reevaluate. So therefore, the humans have to stay involved in that. So don't trust the tool entirely. I'll share with you one other thing, David. My favorite new phrase with ChatGPT. How do I know you're not just placating me and being nice? How do I know this is a truly objective evaluation of the question I'm asking and you're not just trying to make me feel happy?
I'll give you one more. First of all, I named my ChatGPT Chumley, but that you can look up where that name comes from. But I tell Chumley all the time, stop being nice to me, and I have to remind it to stop placating me. And I don't want niceties. I'm a direct to the point kind of person, and I don't want somebody talking to me with these annoying niceties. So and you can train it to be less nice.
Yeah, I don't want to hear this is the best idea ever. You're amazing. No, validate it. Give me a rationale behind that thought.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. So I do have one more really important question. But before we go there, what is the best way for people to find and connect with you?
Each of the businesses I've started has their own website, but I created a website for myself because I'm on some boards as well. And so it has everything I'm involved with. And it's davidsteele.xyz. So DAVIDSTEELE.xyz. And all of the stuff I'm involved with is linked to it. So
we'll be sure to link to your website on the show notes. Why the XYZ? Is that just because of David Steele?
Well, .com wasn't available, and my web guy said, "What about XYZ?" I'm like, "That's pretty easy. Okay, cool." And
Yeah.
do these do they matter? Does the dot whatever matter anymore? I mean, I know it used to, and .coms actually had value, but the way they search for websites now, the .com, .xyz, whatever doesn't seem to matter anymore.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I'm getting confused with IO and AI on all these different sites now. Which was it? All right, here's my last question. It's one of my favorite questions. Who has had the biggest impact on your leadership style and how you approach your role?
My mother, without hesitation. My mom, when she was raising my brother and I, we didn't have much. She was a school teacher raising two kids, single mom. But she showed me that everything she does in life is in the service of others, and that it's really, at the end of the day, humans just want to feel loved and valued, and they matter. And she continuously showed me that with her students. She was a teacher with my brother and I, with her friends. No matter how challenged she was or whatever she was going through, she just never ceased to take that stance with humans in her world. And that's how when I think about not just customers or clients, I think about my team members, my business partners, the people that work on my teams. They're just people. They just want to be loved and valued. And my mom taught me that.
Ah, I love that. Start with the heart, everything follows. That's great. David, it's been amazing talking to you. And I hate to wrap this up, but I have to. So I want to give a big thank you to David Steele, co-founder and CEO of One Wealth Advisors, co-founder and executive chairman of Flower and Water Hospitality Group, for being on this episode of The Customer Wins. Go check out David's website at davidsteele.xyz. And don't forget to check out Quick at quickforms.com, where we make processing forms easier. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'll click the like button, share this with someone, and subscribe to our channels for future episodes of The Customer Wins. David, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'll come back anytime.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Wins podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.